Three, two, one. All right. First off, my name is Tony, Richard Anthony Marshall, or Tony, as I prefer. Um, and I took over this class last month, so we're learning together. I suppose I'm supposed to tell you a story. The guy says you got to tell a story when you start. All right. Who am I? Why am I doing this? Okay. I served in Vietnam in 1968, 69 as a machine gunner. And as you know, Marines are on the ground and they're out there day in and day out, walking everywhere. So there were quite a few firefights, shootings, and all types of stuff. Long story short, I came home with PTSD. At the time, PTSD wasn't even recognized. They called it shell shock back in World War II, Korea, but they didn't call it anything when we came home. There were no services, nothing available. And I lived with that from basically 1970 when I got out. In fact, I came home in the hospital. All right. I'm a disabled veteran, 100%. I was blew up on a truck coming out of Way City during the 68 Way City Tet Offensive. And I ended up in the hospital, 6 months in the hospital, got out and it says, okay, thank you for your service. Same thing it's saying now. Well, I walked around a complete idiot, okay, for the next 20, 22 years. Until I moved up into Boise, Idaho. I actually spent 10 years here in Las Vegas. Opened the Mirage, Treasure Island, Bellagio. Um, I had a stint of 6 years where I never missed a day at work. Never missed a day at work. But folks, I worked from 9 to 5. I drank, drugged, and did everything else from 5 till 9. All right, on a daily basis. All right. So what happens is, and I'm trying to reach out to the young folks now, is don't be an actor. Okay, because basically I played at working, but I worked hard at playing. All right. I was a mess. I was a total mess. Moved to Boise, Idaho, and what happened to be at a VFW one night. And the guy said, "Hey, you ever been checked for PTSD?" Only reason he asked me that was because every time I went in there, I performed. I performed religiously. Okay. I said no, and he got me over to the VA hospital um, with counseling. Good morning. Come on in. Welcome. Good morning. But once I got checked out, and they said, "Yeah, you're messed up." Within 6 months, I was 70% disabled. Okay. They immediately stuck me in a PTSD class. That lasted for about 2 months, and then they said you need private counseling. And I was in counseling one-on-one with a psychologist for the next 5 years. Okay. I continued counseling even though I moved back here to Las Vegas in 2012. I continued counseling. I was still being counseling, except that the VA has a serious problem with their psychologists and psychiatrists. They don't stay very long. Okay. I had like 7 or 8 different people in probably 3 or 4 years. So it just got to be monogamous. And like I said, at that point and at this point, I've learned enough to be able to self-counsel. All right. In other words, I know when I'm out of control. All right. So I basically just stopped my counseling the last couple of years. But all that to say, it's not a joke. Combat is not a joke. Um, but we come home, and as young people, we're tough. We're really tough. Okay. You can handle anything, but you don't admit anything. Okay. You don't admit that you have a problem. You don't seek help. Therefore, you don't get it. But to prevent you guys from going through 20, 30 years of what I went through, ask my wife. She's number 4. I was trading them in like used cars, but actually they were trading me in. All right. I was a piece of work. I was a piece of work. So now, as your service officer, I'm saying to you, I'm here to help. All right. I'm here to help. So let's go on with this information session. I'm going to call it an information session, not a class, because, like I said, I just got out of school in September. So I'm teaching you what I've learned. All right. First thing is the role of a VFW representative. Well, I used to be a VFW representative as a post-service officer. Now I'm a certified veteran service officer. All right. And what is our responsibilities? Primary responsibilities is to help veterans access earned benefits. That's our number one job, to provide direct assistance to separating service members and VFW client appeals. Okay. We have a guy over at the Nellis Air Force Base that does nothing but work with transitioning active duty members. That's his job. He used to be at the hospital doing claims and everything else, but they said they needed him over there because they don't want active duty people getting out of the military as they did us back in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, and just sending you on your way. So they try to provide that information to them before they get out. And that actually it's a part of their getting out process. I forget what they call that now, but before they get out, they have to see the service officer there so he can put them in touch with all of the benefits that they're due. So they don't just walk out in the street. And work with federal agencies to ensure proper administration of veteran benefits. Okay, again, this is your service officer, not the representative. Your post-service officers cannot access any of the VA materials, but as a certified service officer, I will be able to access all of your VA records, most of your military records, if they are part of that file, and manage VFW national networks of volunteers at VA hospitals. I won't be managing anything. I'll just be one of them. Okay. The common misconceptions about our services. Number one, we're volunteers. Yes, we are, but you have to be appointed. Number two, we're untrained, and not so. I did probably a 4-day online training course, but I'm good, see, so otherwise it would have taken probably 2 or 3 weeks to do it. I did it in 3 days. And then I was sent to an official class out in Annapolis, Maryland for further training. And again, I'm back here now, and there's more training to go. So we are trained. Pay to play. That's probably the biggest one that they're throwing out right now. Our services are absolutely free. There's no obligation to do anything, join anything. All you do is come in, we provide the service, and that's it. Okay. Members only. You don't have to be a member of the VFW to get these services. Okay. We help any veteran that needs help. Are you VA? Well, if you look at my email address now, it says va.gov, but I'm not a part of the VA. I'm a part of the VFW. The reason I have va.gov is because I am in their system. So I have to be registered with the VA in order to get into that system. That VA email address only works on my VA equipment. I cannot get that information on this one. Okay? And we only do claims? No. We are also well versed in benefits that are available to you throughout the system. Okay? This other stuff over here, I'm taking benefits away from other vets. I don't know what that's all about. I'm not disabled. I don't know what that's all about. I can do it on my own. No, 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 no. If you can get a VA representative or VFW representative, VSO, to help you with your claim, please do. All right. Because what happens is, just like I was telling the guy, if you use the wrong form to submit your claim, they're not going to send it back to you and say you used the wrong form. 9 times out of 10, they'll trash it. Okay, because I'm not supposed to tell you guys this. It's an AI system that looks at your claims initially. All right. When you send it in, it goes through AI system, artificial intelligence, which goes through and looks at everything. If the right words aren't there, and like I say again, the wrong form, then it looks at it as an incomplete claim, and it just trashes it. Okay. If you're real lucky, you might get a letter saying you used the wrong form, but I wouldn't count on it. If I pay for it, I'll get a better help. Okay, you hear this a lot too going on right now. They call them claim sharks, lawyers and different groups that says I can get you 100%, irregardless of what's wrong with you. They'll tell you I can get you 100%, but you're going to pay for it. Don't get caught up into that. They cannot get you anything that you're not entitled to. Who are the VFW service officers? Veterans who have been through what I just explained to you. Most of the VFW service officers, I say most, are actual combat veterans who have been through some things and who are, for the most part, anywhere from 50 to 100% disabled. So they know the process, they know what's going on, and they're advocating for whatever situation that you're in. Highly trained, yeah. I would say with that mess I just went through, we're pretty well trained. Services are like I just said, services are no obligations and free of charge. We just talked about that. Now let's get into some of the specific benefits. Nevada benefits. First thing I'd like to say to all of you, if you haven't done it already, if you have a DD-214, go down to the tax assessor's office and register your DD-214. Okay? How many times have somebody said, I can't get a copy of my DD-214. I lost it. I don't know where it is. If you register it there, they'll give you a certified copy, and your DD-214 will always be on record. So whether you're here, if you move out of state, first thing you do is you register that DD-214 with the state. All right. Boop. Okay, and here we go. Nevada, as most states, has benefits just specifically for veterans. All right, here we have benefits include state employment, preferences. You get that 10-point, 15-point preference depending on what your disability level is. Education and tuition assistance, vehicle tax, and that goes hand in hand with the tax exemption. Okay, if you're 50% or better, you get a discount on your taxes or your tags or your home mortgage taxes. All right. Again, this all happens down at the tax assessor's office. You take your letter of whatever disability rating you have, you take that down there, and they'll give you a number. That number can be used either for, like I said, your mortgage taxes on your mortgage, or you can use it for your tags. I chose to use it for my tags. With 2 vehicles, I paid $33. Okay. It covers all of the other stuff. Right? They give you a stipend. Actually give you a stipend based on your disability, and you can use that to pay the taxes on your car or SUV or whatever. So that's a good thing. Free burial and military honors at any state veterans. Well, we only have 2 at the state veteran cemeteries, and hunting and fishing license. Okay, that's if you're into that type of thing, yeah. Here, I think you pay like a $10 fee for your hunting and fishing license. In Maryland, you get a lifetime free hunting and fishing license. Idaho gives you a $1,000 check just for being a disabled veteran. One-time check of $1,000. Okay, here's the other good deal: commissary and exchange privileges. You know, out in Nellis, they've got a beautiful commissary. They've got the VX. They've got the slop shoot. Well, I'm sorry, um, the corner store, I call it. The 7-Eleven, where you can just run in and grab stuff. We call them slop shoots on the Marine base. But you can use those things. They used to have bowling alleys and movies, but they're cutting out a lot of that stuff, especially here in Nevada. But you get to use all of these things just because you were a disabled veteran. Now, depending on what your disability rating is, 100% you get to use all the stuff. But I think it's 40, 50, or 40, 30 down. Um, you can still use some of the things, but you'd have to check with the base to determine what things you'll be allowed to use. But as a veteran, period, you can always use the online commissary privileges. All right. Or, like I said, at the hospital, that little Patriot store they have there, you can go in there and shop, and that's tax free. All right. But you have to check with the base to see what their guidelines are for those things. And this is what it's saying here. The application is only used for 100% permanent and total service connected veterans, right? That's to use all the stuff, but you can use the others. Here we go. What do they say? VRNE, or Veteran Rehabilitation and Employment Services. Job training, employment accommodations, resume development, job seeking skills, coaching, and available to veterans with at least 20% compensation rating, or who have 10% with a serious employment handicap. When I first got out of the service, like I said, I was a whack job. So I had 15% employment, uh, what do you call it, with a percentage that I could add to my job qualifications. And I used it to the max. But here's the deal. That's only involved with state or federal employment. Okay. If you're going down to Sears and Roebucks, do they have those anymore? I'm sorry. Dillard's, if you're going to Dillard's, this doesn't apply. Okay, other services may be provided to assist the veteran in starting their own business or independent living services for those who are severely disabled and unable to work. Now we get into the deep stuff, all right? I don't know if you guys are interested in this, but this gets quite involved. Survivor benefits. Examples, okay. What are survivor benefits? These are 5 survivor programs that can be used for survivors. Now, when they say survivors, that means somebody died, all right? So let's start. Accrued benefits, dependency and indemnity, compensation, substitution, survivor pension, and burial benefits. All these things are available. And as you know, they just passed the PACT Act and the Water Treatment um, Act for those folks serving in Camp Lejeune. Well, I'm 75, so a lot of the Vietnam veterans and a lot of the veterans that served at Camp Lejeune are passing on. Some of them have already passed. All right, a lot of them have already passed. Well, their survivors, their wives or children or parents, can now file for benefits even though they're already gone. And I'm getting a lot of those. But these are the benefits. Examples of accrued benefits. A claim was on appeal, was pending at the time of the beneficiary's death, and all the evidence needed for a favorable decision was in the file on the date of the death. In other words, if you had a claim in, he died, that claim is still active. Okay? So the survivors, either the wife, parents, or children, can file and complete that claim, and they will get paid for that. Okay. Eligible dependents. Surviving spouse, dependent children, dependent parents. These are the only people that can file for those claims. All right. Grandchildren, no. All right. Second wife, no. She has to be the wife on record. Dependency and indemnity compensation is a free monetary benefit paid to eligible survivors of military service members who died in the line of duty, or eligible survivors of veterans whose death was related to a disease that was caused by active military duty. This is another big one. All right. Again, we're talking about folks or the veteran who has passed on. Irregardless of when he passed, that surviving spouse, parents, or children can put in a claim for survivor benefits. Okay? That's what a lot of people are just starting to learn. And again, we have to thank the VA for that because they're sending those letters out. Okay?
I have a question on that. Like, I'm 100% service connected.
You are?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And like, if I pass away, can my daughter or grandkids?
Your daughter is the only one that can file that claim. Okay. If you don't have a husband,
but my daughter,
your daughter is the only one that can file. Your grandchildren cannot file.
But do I have to file it now? Oh no,
You gotta wait till you die. Then you can come back and file it. Yeah. No, seriously.
But how much would she get? The same as I get?
About this much. About this much. If I give you a number now and you don't get that number, then you're gonna be mad at me.
But no. Is it the same that you get?
No, it's not the same that you get. Okay, there's an amount that they've set aside for the survivors. Okay.
What's it called again?
Dependency and indemnity compensation.
Okay.
But it says that the surviving dependent files for DIC within 1 year of the veteran's death. The effective date will be the day that the veteran died. If the claim is filed for more than a year, then the date that the claim is started is basically your start date.
Is that the Form 38?
No. That's the everything that the VA does is backed by the 38 CFR, which is the Code of Federal Records. All right. In other words, if you have a broken finger, there's a CFR that covers that broken finger, how much you can get for it, so on and so forth. That's why you'll see the CFR on every one of these slides. There's a stack of books so deep, okay, and no matter what kind of illness you have, it's in there. All right.
But is that only for disabled vets?
Basically, everything here is for disabled vets.
Oh.
That's what we're talking about.
You have to be 100 to get that?
No.
Oh.
No.
I got it.
You have to be dead, number one. It has to be dead, all right? And depending on where you are, as a 100% down to 0%, there are benefits that are available to you, okay? But you just can't say, this is what you'll get,
okay,
all right? Because as the economy changes, the amount of money will change, okay? But just to know that it is available. What happened here? Where's my little thing I'm gonna do? Okay. No, we went the wrong way. Now it doesn't want to work. Okay. This is all saying the same thing. So I don't want to get too deep into that. Boop. Types of DIC: active duty, service connected, presumptive, contributory cause of death. These are all the different ways that this DIC applies. Survivor pension. This is different. Okay. Survivor pension is a need-based benefit available to unremarried surviving spouses and unmarried dependent children of deceased war veterans. To understand this, and I'm going to keep it real simple. If you are doing really, really bad, really bad as a surviving spouse, dependent child, or parent, you can get this pension. But it's like I said, to be eligible, there's an income limit, net worth limit, and service requirement of the veteran. All right. So it can get real technical, but basically you have to be almost broke. It's like basic unemployment or basic social security. But as a surviving uh, member of a deceased veteran, you are entitled to it. But I think the net worth limit, I don't know if they have it up there yet. Your net worth limit is $150,000. That doesn't include your house. So if you got $150,000 in the bank, they say, no, you don't need this. Okay. So this is, I'm not really tickled about this one. Special monthly benefits. Dependents with special medical needs may qualify for special monthly benefits. There are two types of special monthly benefits that can be added to the DIC or survivor's pension. And it's pretty much self-explanatory. Housebound, aid and attendance. Housebound, that means you require medical evidence showing that the surviving spouse is substantially confined to the dwelling and immediate premises, institution, or whatever. In other words, you can't get around. All right. Aid and attendance is, well, you can do a few things, but you need help doing a lot of other things. All right. And then it says right here, may be granted when the surviving spouse is a long-term patient in the nursing home or when there is medical evidence showing you require assistance of another to protect them from the hazards of daily living or bedridden or have connected or corrected visual acuity where you're almost blind, you can't see. All right. So if you have to have help around the house, and like say for instance, you can't get up to the stove because you're not able to, and you may set the place on fire. You need somebody else to help you with that. Cooking, bathing. You don't want them to fall in the tub. If you need help with that, you can get this special monthly benefits. Burial allowance. Of course, we all know about this, right? They'll give you $350 to bury you. Or if you want to be buried in the state hospital and you're at 100%, there's no charge. All right. The veteran died as a result of a service-connected disability. The veteran was receiving VA pension or compensation at the time of death. The veteran was entitled to receive VA pension or compensation, but decided instead to receive full military retirement. This is any of you guys retired from the military? You did? So you know there's a big stink with this, right? Retirement versus compensation. Okay. If you feel like you might be close to 100%, it may be to your advantage to take the compensation. Number one, it's tax free, but that's a decision that you'd have to make. The veteran died while hospitalized by VA or while receiving care under VA contract at a non-VA facility. But you are entitled to your burial benefits. The veteran died while traveling. Okay, that's another thing. If you're being sent from here to California and there's a car accident, you still get all your burial allowances. All right. The veteran had an original or reopened claim for VA compensation or pension pending at the time of his death and would have been entitled to benefits from the date prior to his death. Because that goes back to the other thing that we were talking about. If you died while your claim was in, that money is still entitled to you, to your dependents. So it works the same way with your burial allowances. And this October 9, 1996 staying while a patient at a VA approved state nursing home. That's negotiable. Okay. Transportation expenses prior to January 2023. The cost of transporting the veterans remain to the place of burial may be paid in addition to the burial allowance when the veteran died of a service-connected disability or a compensable service-connected disability and buried in the National Cemetery. Okay.
I have a question,
Okay.
or maybe it's further down, but on service connected, 100%, and would I would I need insurance
For what?
to get buried?
No, I just told you. This is talking about transporting you. In other words, I'm from Maryland, right? I want to be buried in the national cemetery. I mean, national cemetery. All right. Instead of taking me out here to Nevada, it's Boulder City, they're going to take me back to D.C. All right, at their expense. Okay, because I'm 100% disabled and a Purple Heart recipient, so that privilege is reserved. The veteran died in a service-connected disability or had a compensable service-connected disability and buried in the national cemetery, or the veteran died while in the hospital, nursing home. He or she had been properly admitted under VA. In other words, they said, okay, you need to be in the hospital. Again, the veteran died while traveling. The veteran remains unclaimed and buried in a national cemetery. Okay. In other words, like I said, I want to be buried at the big one, all right, in D.C. So I've already submitted my paperwork and all that's in the safe. So when I go, if the wife, she has to keep a little bit to keep on the counter to watch my stuff. The rest of it goes to National Cemetery. But they will pay for that. Like I said, a lot of this is need to know. And like I said, unless you're getting there, you're getting close to there, I suggest that you go ahead and get this paperwork taken care of so that it's in your safe at home, along with all your insurance policies and everything else. So that when you do go, because you're going, ain't no doubt about that. So when you do go, the folks that have to take care of all this stuff don't have to run all over the place trying to find it. So let's go ahead and get it done. Pre-need eligibility determines, okay, we don't have to do this.
Oh, I had a question on the end of it. It said adult daughter. Would I have to fill out paperwork to specify which way?
Your daughter should be in your paperwork, or if you're 100%, your daughter should be your beneficiary.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Whoever your beneficiary is.
Okay.
All right. That's where all this is going to fall down. And again, we know that the flags are available to any veteran that passes. All right. And it says only one burial flag may be provided per veteran. Most veterans are eligible for a burial flag. Reservists entitled to retired pay are also eligible. You bump this, all right? You can go to the fire department and get a flag for any veteran that dies, okay? Short and sweet, all right? But otherwise, once you do your paperwork for your ceremony, wherever you want to be buried, the funeral home will take care of providing that flag. So I wouldn't stress about this at all, okay? Okay, these are some of the other things that are available to you. If you're really messed up and you need a special automobile to drive, they will fix it up for you. Adaptive equipment, they can take any vehicle, all right? If you got two hands and you can stir, they can fix that thing up so that you can drive. All right. Believe it, they do some fantastic work with these things. But these are available if you need them. Again, adaptive equipment eligibility, you have to really be messed up to get these things. Special adapted housing, same thing. 100% disabled, you're using a wheelchair all the time, right? They can build a house that is, everything in that house is wheelchair accessible, all right? Everything from elevators to lower counters to special dune buggies and go buggies out from your garage. You jump out of your car into a dune buggy and it'll take you in the house. They can do all of these things. But like I said, you really have to, you've got to lose a lot of stuff to get this done. Now, I have a good friend. She had a house built from the ground up, and it was like going to some damn space uh, place. She had everything was so available. She didn't even have to take the trash out. She had a trash chute. She put the trash in it. It automatically went outside to the trash cans. You didn't even have to take the trash out. It had elevators in there, um, not wheelchairs, but scooters on every floor, right? So she didn't have to take one scooter from one to the other. She just get off the scooter on the first floor. She get in the seat. She ride up. There's a scooter upstairs waiting for her when she get there. So they can do some wonderful things. The same thing with your clothing. All right. And this is more for people with prosthetics. As you know, they've got the arms and just the action of using artificial arms and legs ruins the clothes. So there's clothing allowances for that. And there's like 2 allowances. You get a year, and it's quite a package. These are the things you can get: shirts, pants, blouses, and skirts, because this is where most of the action is, and this is what wears out. So you can get those things. It's not approved for everything: hats and caps, underwear, socks, stockings, shoes. Okay. Any questions on this part? No. Then we go to the good part, and this is probably why most of you are here. And this is the most difficult: service-connected claims. Anybody need to take a break, go to the bathroom or anything? Huh? All right. Smoke break. Smokers, draw one. Well, like I said, they're setting up this class basically to inform people, all right, what is available, all right? Because that was the biggest question that I had. What questions do you ask when you don't know what questions to ask? Okay. If you have no idea what's available, why would you even bother to ask? And I walked around in a daze for years, not knowing all of the things that were available to me, all of the help that I could get. And you guys see me now. If you saw me in 1983, you wouldn't even talk to me. I was an asshole. I mean, bona fide. I hated everything, you know, quick tempered, drugs, alcohol was my best friend. Yeah, on a daily basis. Like I said, I went to work 6 years in a row without missing a day.
That's dedicated.
But those same 6 years, I never missed an appointment with my drug dealer that evening for 6 years, you know. But that went on for a heck of a lot longer than that. But thank God to the VA and all of the services that they provided. I'm sitting over here now talking like I got some sense. Yeah. But we got a lot of our young people coming out of Iraq and Afghanistan, and you know, since they passed, the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard.
Yeah.
The drugs, you can go down to the corner like you do to the liquor store and get your drugs. Boy, they're burning them up. They're burning them up. But again, a lot of that is they're hiding what's really going on with them. All right. They're hiding what's going on with them, and at some point, it's going to catch up with them. All right. So I'm trying to work with them and let them know that, hey, it's not a joke. It's not a joke. PTSD is not a joke. You can't hide from it. You cannot hide from it. Put your patience in your pocket and get the help that you needed. All right, let's talk about these service-connected claims. Common elements of service connection. And this is the biggest thing that causes most folk claims to be denied, is service connection. Your disability must have a current disability from an injury or disease. The event occurred anytime while on active duty, on leave, and I don't know what this means. Okay. I went to this class. Okay. Any of you ever worked for the government, federal government, state government? They use acronyms. Okay.
Active duty training and inactive duty training.
See, you know, you've been there. But they gave me a listing of like 3 or 4 pages of acronyms. But the problem was, while they were teaching, they used acronyms. I had no idea what they were talking about. Aggregated disability made worse during service or due to a service-connected disability. Again, I got blown up on a transport, ended up out in the field. They took me to the hospital, and I had shrapnel. Of course, they took all that out, and that was good. I had blood in my ears. They cleaned that up, and that was good. But here's the thing. They didn't tell me I had perforated eardrums. They just cleaned up the blood and sent me back to the field. Well, I'm firing this M60 machine gun, 200 rounds per second or per minute, and it's right there next to my ear. I almost lost my hearing. All right. But these things you can't see. Since I've been out, it's gotten worse. I think you've heard of tinnitus. Anybody know what tinnitus is? It's a ringing in your ears, all right, due to perforated eardrums or inner canal ear problems or whatever. Most of the time, it doesn't get better; it gets worse. All right. I played instruments. I played bass guitar, harmonica. I made a lot of music. I can't even go to a concert now because the music is too loud. 1 hour at my favorite, what's the name, Diana Ross concert. I had the $200 seats right down in the front. I had to leave within an hour. I had to leave because my ears were louder than the music. My ears were ringing louder than the music. So these are things that happen, aggravated. In the line of duty, considered in line of duty unless willful misconduct is, well, yeah. If you mess up, you mess up. All right. Here we go. The 4 preferred paths to service connection. Direct. In other words, I got blown up. That's direct. Aggravation. I come out and now I'm working in a factory someplace. All right. And you got the machines going boom, 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 boom all day long. Okay. That's aggravating my hearing. All right. Then you got secondary. Well, because I can't hear and people are shouting at me, hey, get out of the way. The forklift's getting ready to run over you. All right. That's secondary. And then presumptive. Again, serving in Vietnam, I have all kinds of internal problems. All right. They just passed the act that says, okay, now those internal problems are presumptive because number one, you were there. All right. Direct and service connected. I think I explained that pretty good. Anybody got any questions on that? Evidence. Okay. Evidence for service connection. I'm telling you, this is the toughest thing that you have to deal with when filing your claim is service connection. You need treatment records. All right. If you have your military records, and most of us don't, you can get them. However, the VA is required by law, and no, this one doesn't have the 38 CFRs on it. They're required to try to get those records. And I say try, because if they send for those records and they don't get them in a timely manner, and might be anywhere from 6 months to a year, they may wait for them. If they don't get them, they'll try one more time. They've done their job. So if you can get those records, all right, then that takes that off the back of the VA. But they do have to try to get those records. Personal and unit records is what we're talking about. All right. Private medical records. It's the first thing I ask when somebody comes in to do a claim. Have you gone to a doctor outside of the VA? If you have, I'll need their name and address and what you went to see them for and when you went to see them. But here again, the more help you give your service officer, the better things are. If the doctor is right here in Las Vegas and you're going to him on a regular basis, you go get the records, all right, and bring them with you to file with your claim. It'll save you probably 6 months to a year in getting that claim done. Medical opinions, same thing. If they're from outside doctors, then the
I have a question.
yeah.
I've I'm on an appeal right now because they said that my records were burned down
In the fire.
in the fire.
In the fire. I love that. I love that. Some records were burned. Some records were burned. But as I found out, it was a very small section of records. All right.
But that's what they keep telling me.
What year?
I was in 1980.
No, no. The fire happened many years before that. Many years before that. Many years before that. All right. Okay. So the thing is, always remember, you can go to your unit, your, no, what you don't call them units. Army, Navy, Air Force, Marine have an archive of all their personnel records. You can go directly to your unit
Yeah. Just have to go back.
and request those records.
How do you get me a unit?
There's a form, standard form 180, okay, with all the addresses on it. Standard form 180, okay, where you can request your military records, your medical records. If you didn't receive your medals when you were discharged, you can send for your medals, and of course a copy of your DD 214. But there's a simpler way to get that. Your CNP exams, okay, this is real important. Once you've established that service, your service connection, your CNP exams are the exams that they send you to because you said, I have athlete's foot. Well, they're going to send you to a doctor to find out if you still have athlete's foot and what damage is done to your feet. You have to go to those exams. If you don't go to those exams, your claim is basically thrown out. All right. Secondary evidence. Yeah, this is where it gets good, and this is what I talk to people about all the time. Were you a pilot? No, you were a submariner, right? You were in the submarines. Okay. Your pilots, military police, those guys in those sensitive positions can get hurt while they're in the service, while they're on duty, and refuse to go to sick bay. Number one, because they don't want to lose their privileges. All right. If a pilot is running back and forth to sick bay, it says, okay, you're not qualified to fly. So they take them out of the plane. Same thing with your military police and your special duty people. If they take you out of your job, then you're done. So a lot of those guys don't go to duty, but they may have a buddy who was there with him that knows he got hurt. He can get a letter. Cancel checks, receipts, newspaper articles. You know, your plane may went down in South Carolina, right? There's a newspaper article that says your plane went down in South Carolina and you were on it. You can use that. Workers' compensation, when you go in to file your unemployment claims and stuff, you can tell them, well, I got hurt in the service. All these things you can use, all right, to establish what? Your service connection. Now they're explaining the different types of service connections. Here's aggravation. And like I said again, I got hurt. My ears were perforated. In fact, they actually sent me to Gallaudet. And you know what Gallaudet is? That's the university for the deaf in Washington, D.C. They sent me there because they didn't know whether I was going to be able to hear or not. But again, I was sent to Bethesda Naval Medical Center, hospital for the presidents and all the dignitaries, and they did some magic stuff, and I can actually hear roaches walking across the floor. All right. So I had to go back. It's not my wife, so we don't talk to her. Yeah. I thought I turned that off, but I guess I didn't. All right, let's move on. Let's see what we got here. Again, we're talking about aggravation. Non-service connected disability, pre-existing service, and happened after service, but not caused by military service. Okay, again, these are kind of sort of like secondary injuries. Okay, in other words, if one of your legs is bad and you're limping, it's constantly putting stress on your other leg. Okay, eventually that other leg is going to start giving you problems. All right, that's aggravated or what they consider secondary problems. Here we go. I just said it. All right. The path is similar to aggravation, but the service-connected disability actually causes another disability. All right. Okay. If you have one arm that's good and one that's bad, same thing. You're using that other arm more than you are the bad arm. Eventually, that's going to cause you some problems. But again, this is all service connection. This is the thing I was just telling you about, CFR. Certain disabilities are recognized in the CFR as causing other disabilities. Like I said, anything that happens to you is covered by CFR. Actually, 38 CFR is for disabled veterans. All right, the entire manuscript of books. All right. So here we go. Above the knee amputation or double ankle amputation causes cardiovascular disease. It's described in that CSR right there. All right. If you look it up, it'll describe it. Traumatic brain injury causes Parkinson's, seizures, depression. Certain, what is that? Okay, and certain hormone deficiencies. See, these are all considered secondary caused by another injury. And I have to know all of this stuff, believe it or not. I'm required to be able to go in, look up that CFR, and see if there's secondary injuries that are caused. All right. Again, that's why I say we are highly trained, even though most of it's self-taught. Willful misconduct or alcohol and drug abuse. Okay. This can get tricky. This can get tricky. I had chronic PTSD, which leads to what? Alcohol and drug abuse. All right. That's the secondary. Okay, stop with the thing. Disabilities that are a result of alcohol or drug abuse can't be directly service connection. However, if the substance is used because of a service connected condition, it is not willful misconduct, and resulting disabilities can be secondary. Okay, all of the dumb stuff that I was doing because I was drinking and drugging was secondary to the PTSD. All right. So just think about that when you're talking to some of your friends. Okay. Presumption. Yeah. This is where we are right now with the PACT Act and the Agent Orange Act. Combat veteran presumption. Because the veteran was in combat, we presume that their statement as to disabilities that occurred during combat are true. Okay. That's where the presumption comes from. Because the veteran was found fit for service, we presume that he or she did not have any disabilities other than those noted on the physical exams. This is something that I just recently learned. I didn't know you could get a copy of your pre-military exam as part of your medical records. It's in there, but if you don't know what you're looking for, you won't find it. But a guy says, well, they told me I had flat feet when I came in the service. Here's my records. I didn't have flat feet. So he was able to prove it. All right. Presumption that proved both in-service events and nexus. This nexus thing, they use that a lot. I didn't know what they were talking about. Okay. Reason why there's a presumption: exposure, POW status, herbicide exposure. Again, we're talking the Agent Orange, burn pits. All right. Facts about a veteran service that must be true when or where they serve. Sometimes in MOS or job function. Here again, we're talking about guys that never went in combat, okay? But they're flight mechanics, jet fuel operators, all right? Firefighters, They're using the foam. They're around jet fuel all day, every day. Some of them 20 years. My nephew was a jet fuel operator for 20 years. That's all he did was.
Very helpful. I got an appointment.
Okay.
Very helpful.
Thank you. Thank you. But he loaded the planes with jet fuel his entire life. In fact, he walked in the room, you could smell him 15 minutes before he got there. He smelled like jet fuel. Now he's got the shakes and all kinds of stuff going on with him, but he was never in combat. Okay. Facts about veteran service that must be true when and where they serve. Sometimes the MOS. So here's MOS. Like I said, firefighters, they're shooting that foam stuff that's everywhere. All right. Same thing. List of disabilities associated with that presumption. Particulate matter. Again, we're talking about the same thing. Asthma, rhinitis, sinusitis. This is all associated with the burn pits over in Asia and Afghanistan, Iraq, Saudi Arabia. Okay. Again, you don't have to be in a combat zone to be exposed to these things. As a Marine, in 1967 on, everywhere we bivouacked, we dig holes for disposing of waste. So we had burn pits here in the United States that nobody talked about. All right. Now that we have discussed the major points of service connection, let's talk about claim development and VA's duty to notify and assist veterans with their claims. Duties and responsibilities. This is probably on me. VSO's rule is to assist the veteran in developing and submitting a timely, complete, and accurate claim. Before you come to see me, I'll ask you a whole bunch of questions. All right. Where did you serve? What injuries do you have? I had a guy come in and say, I want to file for the PAC Act. I'm like, okay, what's wrong with you? Nothing. So what are you filing for? The PAC Act. They told me I could file for the PAC Act and get disability. PAC Act is just what it is. It's an act, okay, which describes all types of injuries, illnesses that you could get if you were in those environments that cause the disease and illnesses. You can't file for the PAC Act. You can't file for Agent Orange. You have to be sick. All right. Once certain criteria are met, VA is required by law to assist the veteran in obtaining required documents to support their claims. Again, like I said, if you have doctors outside of the VA, your military records, all right, the VA is required to try to get those records. All right. If you come to me and they say, I have doctors outside, I want the names and addresses, okay, there's a form I fill out that I submit with your claim so that the VA can ask those people to send those forms, send your information.
I have a question on as far as reviewing the medical records. Do the VSOs, do you guys also help with that too? We have a copy of our medical. We look at something that maybe I'm not even thinking of as a potential claim.
If you bring your VA your medical records to me, and we're getting ready to file a claim, and you say, well, this is why I'm going to this doctor, I'll go through them. All right. But you have to remember, we are not doctors. All right.
I understand that.
Yeah, we are not doctors, but I've been looking at this stuff long enough that I can recognize certain things. All right. And that's why I say it's a good idea to have your service officer go through it with you. Because I'm pretty good.
So you guys can actually look at something like, oh, hey, did you realize that?
Yeah, that you can file for this or that or the other. Yeah, I always do that. Right. And like I said, again, talking about secondary injuries and illnesses and stuff. Okay. I'm cognizant of a lot of this stuff. All right. So yeah, but that's why you need your service officer. Okay. Once certain criteria met, VA is required by law again to search for these records. But again, you can help yourself if you can get these records and bring them with you. It saves a lot of time and a lot of aggravation. Neither of which relieves the veteran of their ownership of the claim. That's what I'm saying. If you can get them yourself, get them yourself. Evidence. is every type of proof offered to establish a fact. Testimonial, oral or written, documentary, real, a tangible object, right? You come in with your leg in your hand, yeah, right? We can see that. And demonstrative, illustrated testimony of a witness. This gets sticky. Sometimes they require a notarized witness statement, but you can do a witness statement if you have somebody that knows about your illnesses, knows about your injuries, like your significant other, your brother or sister that lives with you. All right. If they see you acting a fool, they can write a statement to that effect. This guy just acts a fool all the time. That's a witness statement. All right. It can be used. Direct. Capable of providing by itself a proven fact or an issue. Circumstantial. Allow fact finders to deduce. This is when you go to your hearings. And sometimes I have to ask the veteran, listen, they're not service connecting you because they don't understand. You can explain it to me. I can write it out, but I don't get to make the final decision. The adjudicator or the guy that's going to adjudicate your claim is the one that makes that decision. If you can explain to him all the stuff that you just explained to me, you may have a better shot at it. So sometimes it takes going to those hearings to get this stuff done. Evidence must be on an occupied by VA approved standardized form. Okay, in other words, I got to put it on paper. All right. There's a form for everything. 21438, explaining the evidence and reason for its submittal. Stop. Okay. That's again, like I was saying, sometimes I can better describe what you're trying to say because what the VA is looking for is short and sweet. All right, short and sweet. A guy came in and she actually wrote out every illness that he had and then told a story. I mean, a story, an entire story, where it started in the military, once he got out, in the hospital, out of the hospital. And it was like 6 pages for each injury that he had. They're not going to read that. They're not going to read that. So what we try to do is to shorten it up, make it precise, and try to put it in words that will get directly to the point and show what's going on. So if you tell me a 15-minute story, I should be able to get it in a paragraph or less. All right. VA forms are updated frequently and can be absolutely in a short period of time. All right. In other words, what they're saying is they change the forms. They change the forms, and if you use the wrong form, again, you might have a problem. Again, we're talking about testimony, witness testimony, statements, opinions, comparisons, spouse. Like I said, my wife can tell you how many times I've fallen out of the bed or she's caught me and woke me up and kept me from hurting myself or punching her upside the head. They can write out a statement to that effect. And that's very, very effective. Treatment records, of course. Here we go. You might be interested in it. In 1973, he fired the National Personnel Records Center in St. Louis, destroyed records held for veterans who were discharged from the Army and Air Force during certain periods of time. This was in 1973. When did you discharge?
No,
When did you get out?
1984.
Okay, 1973 was the fire.
Okay.
All right. Records may have been destroyed in the fire if discharged from the Army between 1912 and 1960, or if discharged from the Air Force between 1947 and 1964. Okay?
Okay.
Could you take a picture of that?
Sure. Yeah, we get that all the time. Yeah, your records were destroyed in the fire. I'm like, no, I don't think so. No.
Yeah, I got out in
1912.
and then I did reserves until 1986.
Okay, you show them that. Okay. And see, that's the National Archive form that shows when those records were destroyed. That's what NA stands for, National Archives.
Okay. But the guy at the VA, he told me that there was another fire
No, there was another fire.
recently.
No.
Okay,
No.
well, good.
Again, this talks about the VA's obligation to help you get those records. The VA does not need to provide duty to assist when, okay, again, wrong form, application is not complete. No legal standing. No legal standing. In other words, you are not the veteran and you try to file a claim. Claim is inherently incredible. In other words, the guy that came in and said, ain't nothing wrong, I ain't got no problems. Medically, I'm all right, but I want to file a claim. Claimant fails to cooperate. Guy cussed me out in here the other day because he had Social Security records that he wanted to use for a VA claim. I said, you can't use Social Security records for a VA claim. Okay? The Social Security doctors examined his wife and said that she had this disease. The VA examined him several times and could not find that disease. He wanted to use the Social Security records. I said, we can't use those. We have to use the VA medical records of the examinations that they performed. But again, claimant fails to notify VA of relevant records. And if you're seeing doctors outside the VA and you don't let me know, we can't use those records. Are there any questions? Now, hopefully this gave a little information about some of the things that you might have had questions about. There's a lot more. This is only 2 sessions that I attended in Maryland. All right. There was over 300 sessions that I attended in a week. In 1 week, it's time to learn all the stuff that I'm supposed to know. So again, I'm still learning. If I don't have the answer, believe me, I know where to get it. All right.
Question: how do we set up an appointment with like yourself or one of the other VSOs to go over everything?
That's the most difficult question that you've asked all day. All right. Simply because, right? Prior to all this training that I went through, I had 4 days a week that I did appointments. Okay, 2 days on Monday and Tuesday I was here. Thursday and Friday I was at the American Legion West Side. So I set appointments all week, every week. Since I've been in training or since I come back from training, it says, okay, we have an office at the hospital. For 3 months now, I've been trying to get into that office. All right. In fact, this morning, after many tries, I finally picked up a key that will actually open the door to that office. It's taken me 3 months to get a key to get into the office. All right. So I'm back and forth. And then there's other things. I have a laptop, again, that I can only use at the VA for VA claims. All right. I had to get that operational. That took 7, 8 trips to the hospital. All right. So right now I'm suspending making appointments until I get inside the office, get equipment set up, and I'm ready to go. So we're talking maybe a week or 2.
Okay.
Yeah.
You check in with Walter here? Or
No. You check in with me. Walter is not my secretary.
No, I don't know.
Please don't go to Walter for appointments. All right. Because once he get it, he'll call me and says, hey, so-and-so wants an appointment. And then he'll ask me every time I see him, did you get so-and-so's appointment? Yeah. And see,
We just email you? Set up an appointment.
Yeah. Just email me, and that way you're on record, and that way I can get back to you when I'm back in business. I always have your email. This is the card I'm gonna give you now,
Okay.
because this is the one that I will be using. But if I give you this and you call that number or send to that email, I won't get it. I'm not in the office yet. But they've already printed cards. Isn't that cute?
Here's an extra.
Hmm.
You give me two.
Oh, okay.
Sorry. Thank you.
Yeah, they've already printed cards. This is the one for the hospital.
Oh.
No.
Oh.
But if you call that number or
That
email,
email address works, the Gmail address?
yeah.
I have another, so I have to get medical records from, I lived in Los Angeles, Chicago, and now Nevada. And I've used the VA in all those cities.
That's okay.
So I have to contact them.
Nope.
No?
No. All you have to do is go over here to the VA and register. I moved from state to state to state to state to state, and all I do is just go in and register at that hospital and tell them where I came from. I don't really have to tell them because your number, your social security number, boom, we'll pull all of your records up from wherever you've been. So no, don't worry about trying to do all that.
I got a letter saying